Did you ever have that weird thing happen where your lapel disappears? Like where it folds into itself? The Mobius strip? All right, hot start. I don't know if any of you are in the stock market, but I just checked the ticker and you're not anymore. I'm right with you. My portfolio is more devalued than a Fabergé egg in a rock polisher. But Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan says he's still upbeat about the future of the U.S. economy. Of course, he's cheerful. He had to sell all his stocks when he took the job. Greenspan also told senators this week that the breakdown in confidence among investors was caused by a corporate culture blighted by, quote, infectious greed. But hey, just remember, folks, it is that same infectious greed that's going to pull us out of this mess. Look, there's still... They hit that sign? That was such a shit joke, and you're... Even I was in the middle of that joking. This is such a shit joke. Look, there's still plenty of opportunity out there, just as long as people are willing to work a little bit harder at not getting caught. Now, our president says the U.S. economy is not in trouble, but simply suffering from a hangover from the economic binge of the 90s. That's great, W, but how's about getting together with your advisors and pouring me a little hair of the dog, because my tech stocks are so deep in the shitter I can't flush them. Congress is calling for more honesty and ethics in accounting procedures. You know, maybe the problem is we're getting a little too honest. Weren't we all a lot happier and richer when they were fudging the numbers? You know, maybe we're not meant to see the true Hollywood story of capitalism. There are some things that are simply too frightening to see up close, like the Barbie twins in WorldCom's second set of books. You know, folks, the important thing is to stay calm. The market goes up, the market goes down, the market goes down, the market goes down. Before you know it, you don't have any more money to worry about, because the way I look at it, bankruptcy is a journey, not a destination. Let's see, what's new in the world this week? Accused terrorist Zacarias Moussaoui told the judge in his trial, "I want to plead today guilty because I want to save my life." But wait a second, I thought he would go to paradise if he died for his cause. Could this possibly mean that the Al-Qaeda aren't actually on a mission from God, but are just a bunch of psychopaths? No, that couldn't be. And that shithead judge turned him down. You're a shithead, Judge. You're a stupid shithead. That doesn't make you wiser than us. You're just stupid. You're a shithead. Fucking moron. He said he did it. Accept it, you jagoff. Secretary of State Colin Powell told a Middle Eastern peace envoy on Tuesday he was willing to consider a plan retaining Yasser Arafat as a symbolic leader of the Palestinian people. Yeah, because if anybody screams glamorous figurehead, it's Arafat, huh? It's like having an IUD as your hood ornament. U.S. drug enforcement officials are trying to get Dutch officials to crack down on the production of ecstasy in the Netherlands. Well, good luck with that. You know, you can get uncut heroin at the Jumbo Tub in the Amsterdam Costco. This week, the value of the euro surpassed that of the U.S. dollar. Hey, folks, the dollar is just one more massive corporate meltdown away from ending up the peso's bitch. And responding to the success of the Osbournes, VH1 is launching a reality series featuring entertainment Liza Minnelli. Oh, yeah. They have a suggestion for a title, Crazy with a Z. How's about a show with Donnie and Marie Osborne? NBA star Allen Iverson is facing prison time after being arrested for breaking into a cousin's house and menacing him with a gun. Iverson says he's innocent, according to a brief 2-page statement that he had tattooed on his right thigh. Oh, I think I'm still fighting the repercussions of that joke that I admit was shitty. All right, hang in there, guys. 5 more shows, you're in a field with one of those big Swiss horns. Just gonna sit out there with a Ricola horn all day. Tell you what fucks me. Have you heard who the new host of this is? John Madden. Unbelievable. Fuck that judge. You know, following the publicity and success of the recent Women of Enron pictorial, Playboy is reportedly looking for employees of WorldCom, an Arthur Anderson post for the magazine. But really, once you've seen one artificially inflated set of figures on a spreadsheet, haven't you seen them all? Here's my favorite story of the week. A quadriplegic has sued a Florida gentleman's club, charging that it doesn't have wheelchair access to the lap dance room. Now, in the club's defense, they say it's not discriminatory, and they pointed to the fact that they do have a wheelchair-bound stripper who slowly deflates her tires to the music of Bob Seger. In West Virginia this week, a 13-year-old boy was arrested after he pulled a gun on a convenience store clerk and demanded an adult magazine. Isn't it refreshing to see a child who's so passionate about learning? And actress Angelina Jolie filed for divorce this week from her husband, Billy Bob Thornton, ending their 2-year marriage. You know, I didn't want to say anything, but I did see Billy Bob at Spago last month with a vial of another woman's blood around his neck, and I thought something was... laughs out there, grab it and pull it in. Martha Stewart's going to launch her own book club this fall. On her syndicated TV show, Stewart says she hopes to teach viewers the proper way to maintain 2 sets of books. You know, Martha, by this fall, your book club may entail you wheeling a library cart between jail cells, okay? A missile scientist was elected as the new president of India on Thursday. Missile scientist. You know, a nuclear war could happen over there at any time. All the president has to do is push the dot on his wife's forehead. Don't they have dots on their forehead? We're so fucked up in this country now about anything that I think you think I've made that up. Don't they wear dots on their forehead? Okay. Yeah, we're so reflexive. You say something about Koreans eating dogs, and everybody goes, oh, fuck. And yet if you ask a Korean, yeah, we love a dog. They wear dots on their head. Now, I don't think the country's going to blow up if you press that dot, but that would be the joke part of it. I ain't just, That's how whipped down we've gotten. We think anything's bad. It's really weird, isn't it? Doesn't that find you weird? I mean, you're a pretty normal group of people. Do you think that's really that bad? Doesn't seem that bad to me. It might not be a great joke, but it's certainly not, you know, I don't know. Now, if I had said something about a dot on a dog's forehead, and a Korean eating the dot dog, oh, maybe we've got a dilemma. You know, if I do a joke about India and it involves Haji, I don't mean that either. Haji is Johnny Quest's pen pal or whatever the hell is going on there, but I don't mean the Indians are bad if I say anything about Haji. Well, I only got 5 left, and I'm thinking, why are they always whining about shit like that? They wear dots on their heads. I didn't make it. Well, the dot on the camera's telling me to move on. And, you know, shouldn't India and Pakistan be fighting over how they're going to feed and clothe their own people, not how to vaporize each other? How the fuck do countries who just last Tuesday got indoor plumbing and run their electric lights off the battery of a 55 Chevy Impala have nuclear weapons? Now, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but the third world has been mired in corruption and debt for so long, you'd think it was a major U.S. corporation. You know, the problems of the third world are the results of centuries of ethnic, geopolitical, and socioeconomic power struggles. Sorry to be so simplistic about the issue, but I'm only a talk show host, not an Irish rock star. You know, disparity among nations has been around forever, but only now is there a push to do something about it. When the top nations get together at the G8 summit, they discuss the third world like a family member trying to figure out what to do with grandpa. You know, for me, the third world is any country where a soccer game can be called on account of locusts, where even the people working in the unemployment office are on welfare. I'm talking about the poorest of poor. Countries where dust is a condiment. Countries where pimps take the bus. You know, for many developing countries, progress is hobbled by decades of internal strife. Colombia's leaders have been battling leftist guerrillas for 30 years. Somalia has suffered factional strife for so long, you can actually buy 4 completely different Civil War chess sets. You know, America is in part to blame for the third world's financial mismanagement, because for a long time we would send them billions of dollars with fewer strings attached than Pinocchio after electrolysis. Now, how did we expect them to repay it? We don't want to buy their Elvis mosaics made out of lentils, so they have to borrow even more money to stay afloat. It's a classic catch-22 billion situation. You know, lest we tar ourselves with the brush of despotism, it is an absolute, unrelenting, irresistible moral imperative that we cancel these nations' debts, unless, of course, it somehow turns out that I'm the one they owe. You know, the biggest problem facing citizens of the third world is one quite literally of their own making, and that is overpopulation. Hey, folks, one way to conserve precious energy is to not fuck every 12 seconds, okay? Now, I have to admit, I get a little angry when I read about the starving family consisting of a mother, father, and 23 children. For Christ's sakes, lady, it's a vagina, not a clown car. You know, with the... So finally, 9.5 minutes into the show, I find out I wasn't being quite malicious enough. Oh, I see. Well, with the populations of these places climbing exponentially every year, you have to wonder, where do they get the energy to fuck? I mean, they're starving, and yet they still have enough stamina for sex. Christ, if I forget to eat my between brunch and lunch high-protein strawberry yogurt power bar, 8 hours later, I can't get the mini dune worm to perk it up even if I attach jumper cables to my balls. You know, doesn't matter what you say if you say it fast enough. You know, the state of the third world education system is abysmally low. Strapped for resources, the typical classroom, the third world is massively overcrowded, lacking in even the most basic supplies and textbooks, and led by teachers who can barely make a living on what they earn. In other words, just like our public schools, but not as heavily armed. You know, I will admit that these people do amazing things with what few resources they have. Take dung. Now, dung is like the duct tape of the third world. They not only use it to fertilize, but they burn it for heat. They turn it into thatched cottages and even nifty houseware items. You have nations in Africa where track lighting means adding a wick to a camel turd. You know, I had a friend who came back from the Serengeti with a 16-piece punch bowl set made completely out of wildebeest shit. You know, I think the prompter guy walked out on me. You know, if we're going to solve the problems of these countries, we must remember history. Originally, the Third World was called that as a term of contrast to the First World, the industrialized capitalist nation, and the Second World, which was the communist bloc. Now that there isn't a communist bloc, I propose that we start calling the Third World the Second World. Just like that. No more Third World poverty, no more Third World violence, no more Third World debt. No, please, don't need to thank me. I just want to help. You know, wait, what did you do? Oh, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. No, you don't have to. No, please. Don't give me that Third World mercy fuck applause there. I want to know what you think, America. Give me a call at 1-800-522-8673. Was there not a whole other paragraph to that rant? Eddie, you back there? Feldo? What, all the writers split town? What happened? Thought I had like 3 more paragraphs. What happened? Fuckers. Huh? Who broke into the fridge and took my berries? That's what I want to know. You know, as a reporter, my guest tonight has been to more third world countries than Jimmy Carter's carry-on bag. He is an award-winning foreign correspondent. His new show, The Pulse, can be seen on Thursdays on Fox. Please welcome Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo.
Hi, Dennis. How you doing? Nice to see you, man.
Want a mint, Ben?
Oh, no, thanks. I'm good.
Now, Geraldo,
Good to see you.
you still look remarkably fit. And I was wondering, it was the first time I saw you, did you not go to a place called Willowbrook or something? Do you remember?
Yes, it was the world's largest institution for the mentally retarded at the time.
You were like a young cub, and I remember
Yeah.
being a brilliant, you'd snuck a camera in there. Was it in upstate New York?
It was actually in Staten Island.
Staten Island.
Yeah, it was amazing that there were 6,500 mentally retarded people stuffed into these wards.
And it was a nightmare.
Horrifying, horrifying. They were treated under worse conditions than the worst kennel. You know, 60, 70 in a room with no furniture, smear with their own feces.
Did
being
changes
fed
come
with
about
hose.
from that, from your
Oh,
stories?
yeah. They've closed most of the institutions in this country and in the whole Western world. The way, and not directly a result of that
the
story,
cattle call
but
sort of deal.
it began a process.
Now, you're, to me, how old are you at that point?
At that point, late 20s, yeah.
Well, don't you feel like Buzz Aldrin at that some point? Like, where do you know, he came back, he had to sell Diatsus in the desert. I know you've gone on to do stuff from there, but really, if you think about it, is there any single story that's ever done more?
It was really the highlight of my professional life, no doubt about it. And everything I've done since then has been almost like a second act, to follow up something less than
I
that.
know, I remember at that time thinking, wow, this young man, yeah, I didn't know you then. You weren't Geraldo yet. It was weird. You were Geraldo Rivera then.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking how good that must feel to turn these fuckers out. It must have been a great
I still
feeling.
see them. They're still very much a part of my life. Thank you. Thank you.
And then the next time I saw you, I remember it was something late at night, and I remember it looked
Good
like
Night, America.
Marilyn Chambers was horny for you. Do you remember that? And this was like
She may have
hot
been,
Marilyn
but-
Chambers.
Yeah. That was when she was on the cover of one of the soap boxes.
Right,
Yeah,
the
Green Door.
she was a porn star, but she was like
Yeah,
the
right.
first hot
The
porn
first-
star.
first-
And I think I remember her coming on to Geraldo late at
Yeah, we
night or
did a lot of
something.
that, a lot of prostitutes. All
Now, when you're 32 years later, right? That's how long you've been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I see you back at the front, and I sometimes wonder what a polarizing agent you are in this culture. I'll hear people decry you from the safety of these desks in the United States,
easy, yeah.
and I think, Christ, it appears to me the guy's like 20 feet away from where the guns are firing. Why do you go over there? What's the juice for you at this point?
Well, first, let me say that I have never been criticized by another combat correspondent. People who really do it know what it takes. The juice is, it's weird, you know, without going off on a patriotic rant.
No, I want you to go off on that. I want to
Okay,
know,
okay.
is it part of
Well,
it
there's
like...
part of it is just being a passionate person and liking being afraid. I mean, that's kind of a personal motivation, you know, the front seat in the roller coaster, that kind of thing. But this time, it was different. I had this comfortable job at CNBC. I had the highest rated show on the network. But I was anchored to that desk, and when the war broke out, and it affected me so personally, it hit, you know, a town where I owned the newspaper, lost 70 people, 15 parents in my kids' elementary school. It really was a very personal story. And I really wanted to kill that son of a bitch. I wanted to really get there and watch our guys just kick his ass for what he did to us. And the NBC wouldn't let me go. So I said, well, you know, I've got an out in this contract. Goodbye, I'm leaving. And, you know, my last show was November the 16th. On the 17th, I was on the plane. On the 19th, I was on the air on Fox News Channel. You know, Roger Ailes, the boss there, said, go for it. You want to go to war? Go ahead.
I admire Ailes. He really has balls.
He
The guy will
does. He
just
really
go
does.
for it. He does.
He's got the biggest set of balls in the business, and I love him.
No, we're not even talking about courage. This man has huge balls. Really.
Kind of like just hang down.
Yeah, it's really weird. He has his name's Roger Ailes. He has a Force Cliff with a big RA on it. He drives in. He's carrying his own balls. Now, Geraldo, when you go over
Speaking
there,
of big ball,
you spend time there, and part of it is for your purposes, but I'm sure part of it is, do you empathize with the people when you're there, or do they all hate us so much that you're just scared shitless
no,
of
no.
them?
This was getting to a place where the Northern Alliance, this undaunted group of courageous freedom fighters, had been fighting for years. They fought against the Soviets, and then they were fighting against the Taliban when they took over with no help from the rest of the world. The United States and the rest of the world turned their back on these guys. To see them actually winning, to see them in the process of liberating that country, of course, with our help, to see them really feeling intensely like I imagine the founding fathers in the United States, that whatever, Muhammad this, Muhammad that, rags on their heads, you know.
Yeah, put a face on them too, as a, when you talk to them,
They
or
became
through an
my friends, my
interpreter.
colleagues, my
And they like young men in their late 20s, mid 20s, early 30s.
Some were old guys, some were kids. They had.
Do they laugh? I always wonder, what is their day-to-day like?
The love that you feel, first of all, when you have a comrade who's been under fire with you. Talk to the guys from Vietnam or from the big war, you know, Korea. When you've actually been close to death with somebody, there is an amazing, rapid, profound dropping of all these defenses and charades and
The
faces
bunker
that we
mentality.
have.
You're in the bunker
You really become. You learn about their families. They laugh with you. On the last day, we were on Tora Bora, and we had been through so much shit there. The guys came, and my brother and I, Craig, my brother Craig was the producer cameraman, and they came. They started to give me a massage, just out of love. There's nothing kinky about it or anything. Just coming, this because they wanted me to relax after all the hardship we'd been through, and I just said to myself, my goodness, look at these people. They have been squatting their whole life, eating dirt, living in mud huts, and now they're on the verge of a victory. But after the victory, what's going to happen? They'll probably still be squatting in dirt.
Is it fixable, Geraldo? What's your feeling? Is that ever going to work out over there? Can Afghanistan ever...
Yeah, I think
Yeah?
Afghanistan, there's some really great people. I think Hamid Karzai, the president, is a wonderful guy. Abdullah, the guy you often see, the foreign minister, is as good as anybody we have. Really terrific people who have a real sense of patriotism, a real sense of country. Unlike the others, Afghanistan never lost its identity when the Soviets took over or attempted to.
Tough fuckers, weren't they?
Tough SOBs.
When you can put up with Dan Rather. Now, what are you going to do at 59? How are you running as fast as you can? Do you feel like how many years you got?
I wasn't the slowest there, and I wasn't the ugliest either.
Right, you look at Mike Wallace. He sets the bar. He's out there at 84. The bastard looks great.
I don't want to do it that long.
No, but you want to do it for a while.
I'm in love now, and I'm kind of starting over in that sense. But
You're not in love with the guy who gave you the massage in Afghanistan, are you? I got to do the news, Geraldo. Stick around. You're a good man. Geraldo Rivera, ladies and gentlemen. That's how desperate my life is. At the end, I just sit there and go, what's he saying that's funny that I can make it? Okay, he says he's in love. Who could he be in love with? Oh, the guy massaging him. Guys, that's such... What didn't I get when I was younger? That's what I want to know. You know, at the end of his visit to Cuba this week, Fidel Castro gave U.S. consumer advocate Ralph Nader, the country's highest honor, permission to leave. You know, fuck Castro. I'm sick of everybody going to meet him, too. I'm sick of this bullshit. He should go down and marry the judge who let that fucker off. Okay. You know, here, Castro's an asshole. He's a bad guy. All these star fuckers go down to pose with him. He's a bad guy. You'll never be on the show, Fidel, even if we were on next year. You know, here, Florida Governor Jeb Bush tries to get the kids' attention while in the background, Barney keeps yelling out, that's bullshit! See? Nothing like the plush animals swearing to get a laugh. You know, listen, I'm going to kiss you and I want you to let me. I'll explain later. Senator, the former president outside, he has a lady friend with him. He wants the house keys. On Tuesday, the White House ordered bed rest for Secretary of State Colin Powell when he appeared before cameras and announced that his name was Teo Dewey, gadfly and rare book collector. Anyone who flies with Phil Gramm quickly discovers the veteran senator has an odd notion about how far a cat can fall without getting hurt. And associates of Graham are reportedly concerned about the veteran senator's habit of pointing out things he would burn if he weren't afraid of getting caught. Donning his I'm available sash and smoothing his hair, Antonio steeled himself for yet another long shift of slow dancing with wealthy foreign gentlemen. Well, now, what airline would I take to Afghanistan, Geraldo? Israel's Ariel Sharon got a little tired of Shimon Peres's long-winded stories about what he would do if he were Jimmy Neutron. And Afghanistan President Hamid Karzai's brother Wally earns a tidy sum these days working in the presidential palace, telling visitors he's in there. This next joke, this could die the worst death of any joke I've ever done. I can just feel the vibe. I kind of know where the room's at. This joke was odd at 2 o'clock this afternoon. It's only looking odder now. Let's take a little journey together. Lil Pumpkin could prance around in front of Happy Kingston all she wanted to, but because she was part of their troupe, Happy refused to fuck her because he felt it would compromise the funny. You're missing the boat. That is a good joke. You might not see it now. It's going to haunt you. Like somebody you saw on the street you were going to say hi to. It might have been the love of your life. And you said, I can't. That's too weird. And you didn't go up to her? You should have embraced that joke. You know, for the young Jacob, the hardest part about having a Palestinian father was never knowing if it was really safe or not to borrow the car. Dean's fanatical insistence on serving only the freshest soup. Go to the next joke. Well, this could rival Lil Pumpkin here. On guard duty for the past 7 weeks straight, Ashy had jerked off to every rock in the desert. So now he had to cover his eyes and imagine rocks in his head. Oh, there you go. Because he never set fire to them or blew them apart with firecrackers, Luki Valquez was able to raise his G.I. Joes to full maturity. The laughing quickly came to a halt when Quan Lee inadvertently blurted out that the water was freezing her balls off. Out of our way, please. Big, shiny foreign things coming through. And finally, Brittany, we love you, Brittany! Guess what, folks? That's the news. I'm out of here. Good night, ladies.